So I want to look at compound interest. Here is the formula for compound interest right here. Okay, it's use I equals PRT to find the interest earned in the first quarter if P equals 1,000 and R equals 5%. Now I'll get back to the T. Okay, in most banks, interest on saving accounts is compounded at a set time period, such as 3 or 6 months. At the end of each period, the bank adds the interest earned to the account. During the next period, the bank pays interest on all the money in the bank, including interest. In this way, the account earns interest on interest, and it's called compound interest. Suppose Miss Tanner has $1,000 in an account that is compounded quarterly at 5%. Find the balance after the first 2 quarters. So it's compounded quarterly. So interest equals the principal, okay? And the principal was $1,000 times the rate. The rate is 5%, but we can't use percent because that's not a number. That's percent means per 100. Remember, because the word percent, cent is the root word meaning 100. So 5% literally means five per cent or 100. And remember, with 2 zeros on the bottom, that's moving the decimal over 2 place values. And so you always move the decimal over to the left to get a number from a percent. Okay? So 5% is really 0.05. Okay? And why is T equal to a quarter? Well, because they're earning it every quarter. Okay? Every quarter. Okay? So time is a quarter. Okay? So here, so you would have the balance or the starting balance. You should be taking notes now. So here's the balance. And then it would go times the interest rate, and then times the times. And for a quarter, I don't usually like to use decimals, but for the sake of putting it in the calculator, it can be easier when you know the decimal. Okay? You know my hand doesn't always do what the mouth tells it to do. All right. Okay. So when we do this calculation, we're going to get 1250. Okay. So now you have to add the 1250 to the interest is the new balance. Okay. So you're going to want to have this out so you can keep it going. So the new balance is 1250 plus 1,000. Okay. Now you take the new balance over here. And then we're doing the formula. So the principal times the interest rate, remember it's 5%, turn it to the decimal, then times a quarter of a year, which is 0.25. And then you do that calculation and you get 12.656. So we're going to round it to the nearest penny. So we're going to say 12.66. Okay. And then what we're going to do is we're going to add the interest to the balance to get the new balance. Okay. Okay. Now, all right. Now that was the second quarter. Okay. Now you should have been taking notes because when I move this, all this is going to go away because I can't move my paper and have that stuff stay there. It might stay there a little bit. It did better this time. Okay, good, good. All right, now it says, number one, how much interest is earned in the third quarter of Mrs. Tanner's account? So now what we're going to do is we're going to bring this new balance over here. So now this is the new balance. This is why it's compounded, because you're getting interest on the interest. You're not just getting this interest every quarter. You're getting this extra 16 cents because it's compounded. Okay, so 125.16. Now we're multiplying it times the interest rate and times the time, which is a quarter of a year. And that would equal, you could do it in a calculator. Okay, so you do 1025.16 times 0.05 times 0.25. Oh. When your cursor is over something, you can just replace it. You should have downloaded this calculator last year when I showed you how to do that. So now the interest for this quarter is 12.81. Now we add the 12.81 to this balance here. And you get okay. I guess I did something wrong. So and we get 1,037.97. Okay. And now we're going to do the next one. What is the balance in our account after 3 quarters? Okay. Well, we just did that right there. They said how much interest is earned in the third quarter? Well, 1281. So you remember in the first quarter it was 1250. Now the interest on the interest added to it was 31 more cents. And the account afterwards is this much. Okay. So now we're going to do at the end of the year. Okay, that's the next question. How much interest is at the end of the year? Okay, so we're going to go. So the end of the year So we bring the new balance over. And we do the same calculation. Now I'm going to show you a little trick on the calculator. Okay. So when you bring this calculator up, and if you want to do the same calculation you've been doing, you go second, enter. Well, that's not the one we want. Second, enter. Oh, that was the mistake. Second, enter. Oh, there it is. But we want to change this to 103797. So we bring this over. And we get 1297. We're not gonna round it up because you don't round up before. So you get 1297 is the interest during the fourth quarter. So when we add that interest, you would go ahead and add that interest to here, and you get okay. Okay, so this would be the balance after the full year. And so this would be how much interest she would have earned in a year. Okay, now the next question is, suppose Mrs. Tanner's account is compounded semi-annual. What is the balance at the end of 6 months? So if we're going to do it semi-annual, then the initial investment would have been $1,000. We would have still had the interest rate of 0.05, but instead of a quarter of a year, it would have been a half of a year. Okay? And when you go ahead and do that, okay? And here we're going to put 0.50, or 0.5 would be fine. Okay? All right. And we get $25. Now, this was how much she earned in half a year. Okay. So it's like as if it was 2 quarters of a year's without that additional $12 tacked on here. See? That's where that extra 16 cents came from. Because this 12.50 and 12.66 is 25.16. See? So by not compounding it, they lost 16 cents. That doesn't seem like a lot, but here at the end of the year, it's 1,050. Well, I guess you'd have to add the $25 on. Okay. Bring that over here. So here's your new total. Multiply it by the interest rate. Then you multiply it by 0.5 because it's a half a year. And then you would get We can just change this to 1050. Oh, this should have been 1025. Okay. I bet you caught that. Right, Chloe? Okay. And then we have 25 here. And we get 2563. So then our new total would be this plus this is 1050 63. So when we look at this balance compared to this balance, you can see compounded quarterly gave them 29 more cents. Okay? Doesn't seem like a lot, but if you're talking about more than $1,000, what if you had $200,000? That little bit adds up. And that's what compounded interest is about. Hope you enjoyed the video.